Boker Tov, which is good morning in Hebrew. Today is the 28th day of February 2020, or the 4th day of Adar, A-D-A-R, in the year 5780. And we are going to do our Torah Parsha message today. By the way, if I look a little yellowish to you, it's because I have a new lamp, and there's not a whole lot of extra sunlight because it's kind of dark still here. And the reason I have this heavy shirt on, and you're saying, I've never seen Steve in a heavy shirt before, is because down here in Melbourne, Florida, we have a cold snap. And yeah, it's cold. I moved down here for warmth, not for cold. Who do I see about getting my money back? All right, so let's get into the message. So except for the chapters moving forward in Exodus that are devoted to the sin of the golden calf, pretty much from here until the end of the book, this book of the Torah, I should say, we're given a very detailed account of the manufacturing of the tabernacle. Now, these chapters in this parsha outline the instructions from God for building the Ark of the Covenant, the menorah, the table of the showbread, the altar, and all the different types of materials to be used for the tents and its support. And that's basically it for this parsha. The tabernacle itself played an integral role in the lives of the Israelites as they wandered through the desert, as well as did, of course, the temple in Jerusalem. There have been different interpretations by Jewish biblical scholars of what the tabernacle represents, and as a Messianic Jew, I'm also familiar with the Christian thoughts, mostly initiated by Saul, or as Paul, that we, as members of the body of the Messiah, are ourselves a tabernacle or a temple or a church, whatever, since we have the Holy Spirit, the Ruach HaKodesh, living within us. And just as God was known to be present in the tabernacle that was in the desert, Christians believe that they are a tabernacle because God's Holy Spirit, God, is present in them. Now, the Rambam, who's Maimonides, the great scholar, said the tabernacle was actually the way that God helped the Jewish people to wean themselves from the pagan practices many had adopted during the 4 centuries they served as slaves in Egypt. And that makes sense to me. Even much later, when Gentiles were accepting Yeshua as their Messiah and converting from their pagan practices, the 4 commands that the elders in Jerusalem required of them, you can see that's in Acts 15, were designed to wean them from their pagan lifestyles and allow them to learn how to become Torah observant in a manner that wouldn't be too difficult to change to do all at once. I think the churches and temples today are where same-thinking people can gather and support each other. They serve as a meeting place for communal worship, but I've always thought that the communion with each other was just as important as the communion with God. See, too many people go to church or shul once a week on this Shabbat and feel they have done their part. The rest of the week, they just live as they want to. I also have known people who feel that going to their congregational meeting place is a commandment, and by doing so, they are worshiping God correctly. Well, that's not true. Really, there's no place anywhere in the Bible where we are commanded to go to the temple every weekend. We are commanded to go to where God places his name 3 times a year to sacrifice. But other than that, our communion with God shouldn't be when we go to church or temple on Shabbat. It should be daily, hourly, every second of our lives, no matter where we are. In other words, going to church or the temple doesn't make you a good Christian or a faithful Jew. What does is our relationship with God and how we act when no one else is around. I'm sure you've heard the adage that an honest person will do the right thing even when they know no one else is watching. Well, in the same way, a faithful person will be praying and doing as God wants, whether or not anyone else can see, whether or not they go to a house of worship. Now, don't get me wrong. There's nothing bad or incorrect about attending a church or shul on a regular basis. In fact, that is a good thing because we need to support and encourage each other. And the best way to do that is through getting together. But the tabernacle Temple in Jerusalem, Westminster Abbey, or that small shul, the Shabbat walk away, are all just symbols of the presence of God in our life. It is not wrong to have one, as some might say, and the building of the third temple is not a bad thing either, until such time as God completes his plan of salvation and his Shekinah glory is among us forever. We need a physical place to meet and worship. The point is that a place where we gather and worship together, as well as schmooze over coffee and sweets, is just as important a reminder of God's presence in our lives as the tabernacle was for the children of Israel as they wandered through the desert. And as I said above, except for a chapter or two, from here till the end of this book, we are told in extreme detail about the building of the tabernacle, and it is, well, understandably a little boring at times. I don't know why there is so much detail, but I hope that as we delve further into the remaining parashot, we may receive some revelation. So, as always, thank you for being here. And please don't forget to subscribe. On the website, use the subscribe button in the right-hand margin, and here on YouTube, click these icons in the corners and subscribe as well. And as always, please remember, I always welcome your comments. Until next time, Lehitrot and Shabbat Shalom.